The end of the world has been survived, but as the steward to the last large city on Earth, can you keep the growing metropolis from starving, or will your weakness allow its outsiders and citizens to devour themselves? Frostpunk 2 is the sequel to the original, launched in 2018, and continues and expands upon its story, mechanics, and scope. For some background, I rarely play city builders, but did enjoy the strategy and survival elements of Frostpunk 1. I hesitate to say looking forward to this game, as I know anxiety, stress, and for me no doubt, a dash of failure comes with it. But through these hardships, will this game and I become stronger than ever? Let's find out. Before we dive in, a subscribe and comment would go a long way in helping this channel and me grow. I'm relatively new to all this and have had a blast thanks to all the support so far, so really, thank you. The game starts with 4 difficulty levels, each with a slider to fine-tune where you want to be challenged and where you don't. If you played the first, it recommends the second difficulty level, Officer, so I went with that. For those new to the series, this is a city management/survival game where you lead a society on the brink of collapse or death as the threat of cold and disease increases while your resources do exactly the opposite. You'll be building structures to manage this while researching new technologies, sending out expeditions for supplies, and listening to the cries for help from your citizens while being forced into tough decisions to better them or the good of all. Straight away, there's several systems and new elements to learn while you figure out how to effectively and efficiently use the options and decisions at your disposal. If you played the first, the UI remains familiar, and overall the game is graphically a step up. I spent the full first hour on the prologue and failed of course, but I knew what to do in my second attempt, which only took 20 minutes, after which Chapter 1 starts, moving you to an already established city quickly running out of coal. Everything from Frostpunk 1 has been scaled up. Instead of having tens of people to manage, you have hundreds. Buildings, like coal extractors, are now districts taking up several tiles. You can zoom out of the city to see a surrounding of snow and ice in all directions, but your first goal is to secure fuel to keep the heat on before turning your focus to building homes, growing food, and fabricating materials for construction. By hour 3, there was a lot to do. You need to make sure you're gathering the needed resources, that you have enough housing, that disease and crime are under control, and that you're researching new technologies, and that the different factions are happy and trust you as steward, and that you're sending expeditions to secure additional resources. Whew. And you can't do it all at once. Laws will help you maintain your survival, the city, and society, but must be voted on and won by majority. There are 4 different factions, each with their own goals and moral priorities, and often you'll have to negotiate with them to secure their vote, which means making promises that you'll be held to. As I played, triangle icons would sporadically appear to share a story about the citizens, or a square icon to alert me of unrest to be mindful of. By the 4th hour, everything was in full swing and management was becoming complex. Coal, the primary source for heat, is limited near the city, and one of my expeditions found oil, forcing a decision on how to best leverage it. This kicked off Chapter 2. A large part of this game is learning through trial and error how to maximize your time and resources. If you fail by being unable to keep all your plates spinning, you'll be better equipped for the next time. Besides figuring out a long-term solution for said oil, I was surprised at how well things were going in Hour 5. Hard knock on wood there. All my other resources were under control, and I gained enough respect from one of the factions that they were actively campaigning for me and collecting extra supplies. I realized that there are things you can do with these factions, like granting them the privilege to propose laws that would increase your relationship with them, or asking for funds or resources that would tax it. I don't know how often I should use this system and when, so like everything else, more experimentation is needed. I should also mention that this is the type of game that melts time. This last hour went by in 5 minutes. What can I say? I wanted more Frostpunk, I got more Frostpunk. Even with its expanded scale and systems, the juggling act of staying on top of multiple needs and never being in a position to tackle them all remains the same. While I hesitate to say this game is easy, it does feel easier than the first, and I think that's because the threat isn't as immediate. You have a little more breathing room here, which slows down the pace and gives you more time to react. That alone caused this game not to hook me, but this is a solid experience. Frostpunk 2 improves upon the original and introduces just enough new to make it a worthy continuation of the series. Some of the new mechanics aren't explained well, and the controls are a little clunky sometimes, but overall, this is a polished game with a clear focus. Am I excited to play more? Perhaps not excited, but I will endure. Oh yes, I mean the city will endure.